Borderlands 4 added new systems like firmware to the franchise that are never fully explained. So, what is firmware, why should you care, and how does it help shape your builds? I'm HellenTK, and today I'm going to be concise but exhaustive on everything you need to know about firmware. Firmware is Borderlands' version of gear sets, giving unique bonuses when it's equipped. There are currently 21 sets in total, granting up to 3 bonuses called tiers, depending on how many matching pieces you have from that set. Firmware can only appear on and be added to the non-weapon gear slots, those being your rep kit, ordnance, class mod, shield, and enhancement, meaning you can equip up to 5 total, each providing only 1 tier of firmware. You can tell which gear has firmware in the following ways: this digital or glitch-like effect around the shaft of the loot beam, and this blue bordered icon on the gear's image or at the base of its stats. Firmware isn't technically locked behind an endgame or specific mission. Starting at level 25 until you finish the main story, you can earn 13 of the 21 sets from any loot source. Once you hit Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, or UVH, the final 8 sets become available. Before leaping into the comments like a Moxie fan watching another creator's build videos, this has been confirmed by the game's creative director Graham Timmons. After the campaign, you will also unlock the firmware transfer machine, letting you, transfer firmware. We'll talk about that shortly. Firmware matters as soon as you reach level 25, but not in the way you think. Most players will finish the main story near level 30, so make sure you're saving the sets you may want to use during those 5 levels. The firmware transfer machine, unlocked after the story, lets you move firmware from your Dogwater gear to your slightly better Dogwater gear, like the Wrong Vault Hunter's class mods. Some notes that cover everything on this process. This costs cash and iridium, which scales with either gear's rarity. The rarity of the gear otherwise does not matter. The first slot is the gear that has the firmware you want to take away. This item will be destroyed. The second slot is the gear that will receive the firmware. You can only transfer firmware to and from the same gear type, like a rep kit to another rep kit, or a shield to a shield. Any gear can cosplay Thanos and continue to receive transferred firmware any number of times, but gear that is transferred firmware can no longer transfer it off, indicated by the small orange lock symbol on the firmware's icon. The extent of build crafting has easily been my favorite part of the game so far, so let me know down in the comments what has been your favorite part of Borderlands 4. I'll be reading every comment and I'll be taking plenty of notes. One small but highly related tangent to farming firmware. I mentioned there are 8 firmware sets that are confirmed to only be obtainable in UVH. With the help from Killer6, a legendary Borderlands content creator, we were able to test and receive this confirmation from the creative director, Graham Timmons, via X. My greatest thanks to K6. I will leave a link to his channel below, as well as our small but confirmed testing data. The 8 sets that are specific to UVH are on the screen now. If you want to farm one of these 8, make sure you have UVH enabled. If you need one of the other 13 sets, disable UVH to limit the amount of possible options by 38%. Firmware is RNG based, but that doesn't mean endless hours of grinding. At level 25, any loot source can provide firmware gear, but here are my specific recommendations. Every time you fast travel, check the vending machines. I often find between 1 and 3 pieces of gear with firmware. Splash Zone, the first boss you encounter, is one of the fastest and easiest kids to bully for lunch money, loot, in the game. Otherwise, choose a boss that you need a dedicated legendary from, and just keep an eye out for firmware while farming. K6 ran drill sites for his testing, which is probably a lot more fun than boss farming. Red chests guarantee 2 non-weapon gear pieces that can roll with firmware, so my preferred method is to kick the Timekeeper's ass over and over. The vault behind him offers 4 red chests, which guarantees a minimum of 8 chances at firmware. Firmware is a build amplifier, not just flavor. It can make or break any build. Firmware combinations like a Tier 1 Action Fist and a Tier 2 Real Big Fist provide a 55% melee damage increase, which even applies to minions like Hufflepuff Heartthrob Trouble. Deadeye at Tier 2 boosts crit damage by 25%, and when paired with everyone's favorite ordnance, the Crit Knife, you will start walking right through most content. Other combinations provide 50% action skill damage, increased shields and HP, or spawning missiles to commit war crimes in the name of fun. These bonuses scale fast, often without using all 5 available firmware slots, and may determine whether a build is viable for challenges like UVH rank 5 or not. With 21 sets and 5 slots, the combination of firmware sets are nearly endless. Let's break this down. The Tier 1 and 2 of most sets are stat boosts. The Tier 3 can be a stat boost, or game changers like the Geneva Suggestion I mentioned before, the Airstrike set, which spawns tracking missiles on kills. Pair it with the Fireworks Legendary Shield from Splash Zone, and even the Helldivers will admire your widespread democracy. Mix and match based on your build's needs, but be sure to keep an eye out for synergizing gear like the shield I mentioned before. A lot of potent combinations seem to be combining a firmware set at Tier 3 and another at Tier 2. Unless buffed or reworked, I would ignore the following 3 options altogether: Atlas EX, Atlas Infinitum, and Jacked. Firmware is only one piece of the Borderlands endgame puzzle, so check out my guide on specializations, where I dive into another system you should understand before starting the endgame. If that video is not up already, I will link it in this video's description when I do upload it. Welcome to the squad, thank you for watching, and peace out, homies.